The withering of the Rio Grande and the harsh reality of those who rely on the river. A video presentation by David Sparkman. In this presentation, we are covering the effects of drought, population, and management of the Rio Grande and the cities along the river. What is the Rio Grande? Beginning in Colorado within the Rocky Mountains, more specifically the San Juan Mountains, the river flows through several USA and Mexico states, such as Colorado, New Mexico, Texas, Tamaulipas, Nuevo León, Chihuahua, and Coahuila. The river behaves and acts as a natural international border between Mexico and the United States. The river holds significant historical and political importance due to the various treaties in regards to water management and migration, as well as the important international border crossings along the river. This is a map created by using the application ArcGIS Pro. Depicts the Rio Grande and U.S.-Mexican territories. The blue line represents the Rio Grande River, starting in Colorado and flowing south to the Gulf of Mexico. The thin light blue lines represents other rivers that flow from the Rio Grande. The red outline represents Mexican territories of which the Rio Grande intersects. The blue outline represents U.S. territories of which the Rio Grande intersects. Due to the gradual effects of climate change, the rise in population, and the mismanagement of the water itself, communities that use the river as a living resource and for their economic development are suffering due to a shortage. What are the causes? The southwestern North American mega drought and the dams along the Rio Grande River. I chose these two factors due to a combination of environmental and climate condition and human management of the water itself. Though there are a plethora of other factors, these two often get the most attention. Whether it's the displacement of communities in the process of building the dams, or the decline in water supply compared to the capacity of the dam, as well as the increase of food and water insecurity in communities that are within the drought zone. As we look through these two photos, we have a representation of a dam located along the Rio Grande River and a region impacted by the mega drought. What is the southwestern North American mega drought? Enveloping the southwestern part of North America and parts of Central America, this mega drought, defined for lasting at least 2 decades, has ravaged the region in decreasing the amount and availability of water and for hurting industries such as agriculture that needs water for its survival. Why is this important to the Rio Grande? As the Rio Grande flows through several regions in which the drought is taking place, it's affected by a drier and hotter climate, leading to an accelerated evaporation rate. This map displays drought zones and its extremities for each region, focusing on areas in which the Rio Grande goes through. How do dams relate to the Rio Grande? Though dams are usually seen as great water management facilities and resources due to their ability to store great amount of water and for preventing flooding through its ability to slow or stop the passage of water, they can be harmful in some aspects related to the southwestern North American drought. Through its ability to slow the passage of water, it can harm communities that depend on a constant and consistent downstream of water for their needs. As cities begin to adapt to the increasing effects of drought, storing more water, communities that rely on the downstream are put in a difficult positions. Also, in the act of storing water, more surface area is exposed to the environment, i.e., evaporation is accelerated. The map is a depiction of the Rio Grande and the US and Mexico dams. The larger circles are the dams on the Rio Grande. The smaller circles are the dams on the other river. Who is affected? An estimate of 12 to 13 million people who rely on the Rio Grande for their needs are affected by the southwestern North American megadrought and the mismanagement of dams. This map depicts the Rio Grande and US and Mexico cities that use the water as a resource. The red dots represents Mexican cities in the Rio Grande. The blue dots represent the US cities in the Rio Grande. Who was most affected in regards to their use of the Rio Grande as a resource? I found that cities with high population densities, meaning that the population is high relative to the size of their area, combined with their vicinity to an area with abnormally dry to exponential drought zones, are most at risk for their use of the Rio Grande as a resource. After comparing cities featured in the previous map with their population densities, I found that the listed cities are most at risk. The map depicts the Rio Grande and the US cities most at risk. It features also the drought zones and their extremities. In the process of building the map, I decided to look at cities with high population densities and if those cities had a close proximity to drought zones. I chose to look at population density as a factor due to cities having to distribute their water to their citizens in a manner that ensures that the water is being distributed evenly and properly. If those areas are densely populated, it would be harder to distribute water in an efficient manner. The cities listed have the highest population density rate. Another factor I look at is their proximity towards zones in their extremities. Each city listed has a close proximity to those zones. In my conclusion, I found that there is a lack of alarm or awareness over this issue. As the climate change crisis continues, it will further increase the duration of the drought and its effect on populations within its range. This is not to dismiss or diminish the efforts of organizations and individuals who are committed to addressing and improving the quality of life of those affected. I find it worrying that these issues aren't being discussed regularly on a national level to interpersonal level. Then again, the news cycle changes every day, and there are limits to what issues are at the forefront of American society. In the end, I found that this issue does require further research into water rights, different types of management, since I only looked at dams, and the effectiveness of the government's ability to distribute water evenly.